Welcome to OptionsCity's MetroNow widget demo or webinar. I'm here with myself, Jaeschke, and Kevin Reeves, who is one of our consultants, I guess. So we're going to walk through MetroNow, some of the new functionality as well as all of the new widgets that we've built, both internally and with some of our partners. So as you all know, MetroNow is the leading platform in options on futures. MetroNow has extensive out-of-the-box functionality that includes options pricing, risk management, automated execution, and market making functionality. MetroNow leverages OptionsCity's freeway software development kit, also referred to as an SDK. By blending to an extent what was originally our Metro platform and our freeway algorithmic engine. Additionally, with MetroNow, we have added the ability for developers to write their own GUIs, along with original back-end algorithms that we had as part of Freeway. Those GUIs can now be bolted onto the core MetroNow platform. At OptionsCity, we continue to innovate and are excited to show off some of our new widgets and back-end algos that we will be building and delivering via our City Store. For the month of December, we are offering all of the widgets in our City Store for free for all of our users to try out. So if there is anything that anyone is interested in, please feel free to reach out to their account managers or sales representatives to get installed. Today we'll be showing you several of our different widgets. Some of these widgets include and are all available on our store currently: our P&L tracker, our advanced order widget, our trade alert widget, our price alert widget, our futures spread matrix, volatility surface manager, a widget that we worked with EOX on, we're calling it the EOX widget. We will briefly talk about the fast futures algorithm, and then Kevin will talk about the auto hedger, the profiteer, and then are you going to touch on the vol manager and future scalper?
I'll maybe just give a short blurb on each of them, but I'm only going to go into depth on two.
All right, so we're going to kind of jump in, and I'm going to first give you a little quick run through of how to access the widgets and how to different, I guess, important things to know about using widgets within MetroNow. So all of the widgets are accessible via this highway-looking icon right here. This is what we call an inventory manager. Within the inventory manager, you can view the different widgets that you have installed on your server. Checking this tool, this checkbox right here will add the widget to your actual toolbar. So you'll see that widget displayed up here to the right. And that is how you're going to launch any of your widgets going forward. You can also right-click on the highway icon. From this icon, some of the important things to know: you can launch job control. So job control runs and allows you to start and stop your back-end jobs, as well as configure any of the jobs that will be running your widget. So if we quickly look into one, there's a few different configuration options. Some of these are defaults that auto start the job when your server comes up. There may be some different variables for you to define. Most of the widgets that we've built internally do not require too much configuration. It should automatically start on their own. Also within here there is a log viewer, so you can view the different kind of log outputs from the different jobs. You can filter on specific jobs that are running. There's also the ability to launch dashboards, which dashboards were original freeway functionality. Kevin will walk through a couple of the dashboards that he's using with his widgets, so we'll get into that. So the first widget we're going to talk about is the P&L tracker widget, which you see down here on the bottom right. What you're seeing is basically something similar to our trade control widget, along with some additional functionality. The idea with this widget is to allow the trader to analyze the amount of profit that is going through the market at the time of a trade. So the user can both view his own trades and the profit he's doing on his trades at the time of the trade, as well as the market profit. All of the profit is based on your theoretical pricing. So it's going to be based on, what is set on your server. It just allows the trader to, kind of normalize the way that they're keeping track of profit day in and day out. So from within this widget, there's a couple nice pieces of functionality. The first is the ability to add rules. So if you want to filter down to a specific symbol, you can add a rule and add a condition such as contains, apply that rule, and you'll see some filtering added. If you add a second rule, you can change this to and or for your rules. There's one other view within this widget, and that is the product view. So the product view is a little bit more of a concise view of what the widget is doing. It will show in the profit column any of the profit that you have traded during the day, along with the market profit. All of these are at the time of the trade, so it will not be reevaluated throughout the day. The MOM column here stands for money over market, so it will be the profit divided by the market profit. So the trader will know how much profit they've taken out of the market on that day. Year-to-date P&L and year-to-date market P&L are just a running total. So as you are running this algorithm, it will store the information day in and day out so that you will have a running total going forward. So it's just a good way of referencing what you're, how well you're trading against the market. The next widget we're going to talk about is the advanced order widget. So this is the advanced order widget. This is a widget that extends some of the exchange's traditional order types. So what the user may do here is create some sort of order that's going to trigger off a market event. So what we're looking at is a trigger based on last trade, and if the last trade were greater than or equal to a price that we enter. So if we change that trigger or enter in that trigger price, we can specify if we want to execute a limit or a market order. In this case, we'll do a market order. We're going to treat this as kind of a breakout order. So if the market moves beyond this, we're going to be buying with the market, and we're going to enter a quantity of 10. With this widget, you also have the ability to enter a stop order behind your order, and that's defined based off of ticks. So we'll set this 5 ticks back. We submit the order. What happens here is the order is then sent to a back-end job running on our Freeway engine. Freeway submits that order to the market, and now the order is contained within that Freeway job. We've built this widget so that you can use it alongside of your order viewer within Metro. So any orders that are actually submitted to the market will show up in the order viewer as it's triggered. So if we were to maybe reduce this trigger price, we can come in and update the order. We can do greater than. So if this, if a market event occurs, the job will place first the original buy order. Once that order is executed, it will then place a stop based on the quantity that is executed behind the order. The user can then manipulate all of this stuff from the order viewer. So we'll let this run and see if we can trigger something as we're going. In the interest of time, we'll keep on moving. The next widget we're going to talk about is Trade Alert. Trade Alert is this icon right here with the little T and the pyramid-looking thing here. Trade Alert allows you to just essentially pop up an alert anytime you place a trade. This is not going to be triggered on quotes or RFQs, but if you just execute a trade, so say you're working an order, you'll get a Trade Alert notification that pops up and looks something like this. If you're say you're working a 100 lot and you're just sitting on the bid, if you're getting pieces of that filled, you're going to see a filled quantity as it's popping up, and there'll be a remaining quantity here. You'll be able to actually cancel the order from this window. So say you forgot that you had an order in the market, or you're like, I no longer want to trade that, you can easily cancel it from this window. Also, it will supply the delta and the net delta. So if you want, say you're working these orders and you want to know what you need to easily hedge or quickly hedge, it will do the math for you and give you the number there. This will also update as the order is continuously filled if it's a large order. The price alert widget is another widget that we have. It is this triangle with the exclamation point here. Price alert widget allows you to create alerts based on a few different pieces of criteria. So what we're going to look at here is an ES. We'll do an options strategy, and let's place butterfly. So we can find some matching instruments. You can add a few different instruments to your alert window at a time. From within this window, we can say we want to trigger if this butterfly is moving through a certain price, or if the underlying is moving through a certain price, say it has some delta to it. So we can create an alert and then go in and enable this alert. Once it triggers, it will pop up a notification. There's a few other criteria, so you can use market price, so that will just be the mid-market between bid and ask. Last trade, so if a trade occurs in that instrument, you can easily pop it up, as well as Theo price. So if your Theo moves beyond a certain point, you can trigger an alert based on that. For futures, it will only limit you to last trade and market price. Another nice thing is, say you want to create a Theo and a last trade, you can easily clone these alerts, set it at a higher price. So if it moves out of this range, we'll trigger an alert. There's the ability to show a log, so if you wanted to know when your alert was actually triggered or when you created the alert, you can actually pop up a log. And so you can simply just kind of park this and run it. So as perhaps you're doing broker trades, you can easily know when things move through a level. So we just hit a trigger, and there we go. We have a dialog that pops up. We can re-enable it if we want, or we can delete the alert. Also, while that happened, it looked like we were filled. Oh, this is just the trade that we placed earlier for the trade alert. Okay. The next widget we're going to talk about is the future spread matrix. This is one of the original widgets that we built as part of MetroNow's launch. We've done a few things since to make it a little bit more user-friendly, and it also has a back-end job that now allows you to place orders directly into the market. So the user can come in here and say, okay, I want to build a matrix and look at the implied market. So this would be your implied, one future versus another. You can view the listed spreads for that product, as well as the best of both. So you can say, I just want to view whatever market is the tightest. You can define if you want to buy or sell, or what leg you want over. You can specify account, and so you can come in here and actually place a trade out. So I know for this instrument I'll be trading on a listed exchange product. I'm just going to place a market order, send it in, and we have multiple things going on. But so now we are filled on the listed. If we were to do, implied market, your only option is to send a market order because we don't want people necessarily lagging with this. But you will be filled on the two individual instruments. The volatility service manager is the next thing we're going to take a look at. Oh, forget trade alerts. Just going to delete these all. So volatility service manager, better known as the vol skew manager here. The idea behind this widget is it allows you to shift your surface from one easy widget here. So you have a few different ways you can shift things. First, we can kind of take a look at a parallel shift. So what you would be doing is applying the shift across, multiple different expiries. Correlated shift and correlated shift 2 both have an equation. If you have more interest in this widget, we can send that to you. But basically, it applies it decrements the weighting. So your front month will adjust more than your back month. There's a few other things within this widget that you can do, like you can set a month range, so you only want to set through March. So I only want to use this widget to change my put second factor for the first 4 months here. I can come in here and just do that. You can also change your base month. So if you're using one of these correlated shifts, you can say, I want my base month to be January, so that everything shifts from that point. So if I do 0.5 here, it will shift both the Ds negatively and the others positively. So again, some nice functionality allows the user to easily manipulate their different expiries based on their curve parameters. The one other algo that we wanted to talk about that OptionsCity is sponsoring is the Fast Futures algo. It is essentially a way for people to replace their underlying driving future with an artificial product, as we call it, within Metro. That algorithm is something that runs on the back end. It doesn't really have much of a GUI, but what it does allow people to do is to we take the tick size, for example, in ES of 25 cents, and we break it down and we'll set it into smaller increments, allowing people to price their future a little bit more finely tuned. So you will adjust your quoting and some of your hitting a little bit faster potentially than where it is happening in the market. There's a few different weighting factors and some studies that our third-party consultant Scott Morris has done as inputs into this algorithm that we've gotten a lot of good feedback back from this algorithm. So it's also in the store and available for this promotion. I'm going to turn now over to Kevin.
My name's Kevin Reeves. I'm a quantitative developer and an independent consultant who's partnered with OptionsCity to help develop some widgets and some algos. And so I have 5 algos that are currently in the City store. So I'll briefly just kind of go over the summaries of what those 5 do, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more detail and demo 2 of them. So if any of you have any questions, please just feel free to type into the chat box your question. I'd like this to be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, feel free to just type them in and I'll do my best to answer them. So the first algo, which I'm going to demo shortly here, is the auto hedger. And so the auto hedger is sort of an extension or an enhanced version of the auto hedger mission that OptionsCity Metro offers. So the auto hedger does a little bit more. Probably most importantly, it allows you to work orders in a passive mode. So there's obviously 2 types of hedging. There's aggressive hedging and passive hedging. And so when you're aggressively hedging, you're basically paying the market what the current spread is. And if you're passively hedging, you're working, say, 1 tick better, hoping that you can get filled at that better price. And so the auto hedger allows you to do a mixture of those 2 behaviors in a way that you can configure and get basically, whether you want to call it profit or savings, either way it basically improves the P&L through better hedging. Second algo that I'm going to go over shortly here with a demo is called Profiteer. And the Profiteer is sort of like an enhanced target finder or electronic eye. It offers some extra bells and whistles that are kind of above and beyond what the stock electronic eye has. And one of those features is something called dynamic participation. So normally when you're using a target finder, you're firing out IOCs and you're basically trying to remove liquidity or take stuff off the book. But the Profiteer also has a mode where you can temporarily offer liquidity. And so this mode is proven to be very useful in practice, and it allows you to participate in trades that otherwise are virtually impossible to participate in. And the way it works is it detects trading activity in the market, and if that trading is occurring at a price point that meets your minimum required edge as well as your other criteria, it will then insert a short duration limit order into the price stream at that point. The idea being that one of the best indications of future demand is past demand, and so if trading is occurring at a price which you'd be willing to participate in, it makes sense to put an order out there and see if someone bites. And like I said, in practice, this has proven to work quite well. I have another algo called the Volatility Manager, and it has a similar name to OptionsCity's Volatility Surface Manager, but it actually does a little bit different things. The Volatility Surface Manager, which James already went over, allows you to kind of synchronize your term structure of your vol curves. My Volatility Manager algo actually allows you to automatically update the individual vol curves for any expiries, and it's basically going to allow you to keep them in sync with the market. So this can be useful for people that may be, hitting fit implied quite often during the day. If you do that a lot, then this is an algo you're going to want to look into because it can automate a lot of that. In addition, it also has quite a few risk controls built in to detect all sorts of abnormal situations, and it can automatically pull your quotes, stop your emissions, and all that. So it's a pretty useful algo that's worth checking out. The fourth algo, which I'll briefly just summarize, is the Future Scalper. It allows you to automatically buy and sell in the market according to certain rules. This is good for people who may have long gamma positions. It's also can make money outright if you know how to use it and you're careful, especially in low volatility markets. Some of the currencies have proven to be quite lucrative in this regard. But the Future Scalper is it's sort of a power tool, so you need to be careful because there's the potential to lose money as well as make money. But if you know what you're doing, it's definitely worth considering and investigating further. The last algo I'll briefly summarize is called the Auto RFQ. So obviously Metro allows you to respond to RFQs with their RFQ responder mission. The Auto RFQ extends that in multiple ways. It allows you to drill down much more finely into the details of the strategies in addition to filtering by the strategy type and other things. With the Auto RFQ, you can filter by the max number of the max count of legs on any one of the individual legs, the total number of legs, the max distance between the highest and lowest strike. Say you have say you're bringing in verticals, but you can filter by the distance between the high and the low. And in addition, you can create as many delta buckets as you want, and there's some other things about that. So that algo is more geared for users who are looking to have very fine control over their RFQing operations. And it also has a number of joining rules in there which can adjust your RFQ responses according to the existing market. For example, there's an option to be never top alone, for example. So if your RFQ response was going to come in tighter than the current market, it would widen out that side. And there's also other rules that can allow you to tighten down quotes that might be wider than the market. You can tighten down to within one tick atop the book and things like that. So that's geared more towards users who are looking to have a sophisticated sort of RFQing operation. So now that I've been over all five, and it doesn't seem like there's any questions, so maybe I'll just go into demoing the two that I first started with, the Auto Hedger and the Profiteer. So I'll do the Auto Hedger first. And basically you have these three grids that you use. And so you'd basically, you got to start the job here. So you go to Job Control. So you basically have these rows where you set up your hedging parameters. So here you basically set up the options that you want to auto hedge. And so here I've got it set up for the S&P minis, these 15 expiries. You can put in a strike range if you wanted, but in most use cases, users are going to be looking to hedge the entire expiry. And so once you've set up the options, then you can adjust. Do you want to auto hedge your quotes? Do you want to auto hedge your metro orders? And then you can point which month of the future you want to hedge with. So in this case, if we're looking to hedge with the front month, we'd be putting in our DS15. We got our future. Hit apply changes. And so you're good to go with that. And so you can use this to kind of set up different mappings. You can put everything to the front month if you wanted. Like if we were to get rid of the expiries filter on here, we could simply be putting, all of our S&P mini options directly into the front month with just one line. But if you have more sophisticated cases where different months are going to different futures, you can set it all up in here. So once that's set up, you go to the parameters grid, and in this grid, you're going to set up one row for every one of your futures that you're going to be hedging with. So in this case, we have the front month we're going to be using. So we enter that same future that we see one match down here, so we know we got our one future. And we apply changes. And so here you're going to set up your parameters on how you want to hedge with this future. So your max working quantity, you could limit the total number of working lots that you'd ever be willing to have at one time just as a risk control. So let's say you could put in 50 here. Then the next column over, if I spread this out, it's max show quantity. So of that 50, maybe you only wanted to show 20 at a time. And if you're in the less liquid market, I have users using this in, livestock and things like that. And of course, they're going to be putting in much lower numbers because you don't want to get a lot of gaming activity. So this protects you against that. The min quantity ratio, here's where you set up what is the ratio that you want to use for the side that you need to hedge with, the top of book quantity as compared to the total top of book quantity, both bid and offer. And so here we have 30%, which basically means that if we're looking to buy, and it always starts out in the passive mode. So that means, we set a working offset of 1. So if we're looking to buy, we're one tick under the offer, hoping that we can get filled at that better price. But if the offer's quantity ever drops below 30% of the total quantity, then we're just going to go up and hit it or lift before the market moves against us. So basically, the algo's smart in the sense that it works when it thinks it has a good chance, but as soon as the stats look bad, it then will just pay up. And because of that, this basically increases P&L. I mean, every user who's ever used this has had an increase in P&L from this algo. So it's not a hypothetical, it's a reality that a mixture of passive and aggressive execution is better than just aggressive alone, because you're basically paying a premium to have that immediate execution. So the market makes you pay for being impatient. So, I mean, that's the basics of it. There's also another grid here where you can, if you want to put an order into the market without just out of whatever context you want, even if it's not an auto hedging situation, just say you wanted to buy 10 of the March 16 ES, you could put 10 here. And as soon as I hit apply changes, it's going to send that order to the market, and it's going to work it with the same logic that the auto hedging would normally use. But here you could do this, just for your own purposes, whether it's a hedging a floor trade or whatever. You can put it in here, and you don't have to babysit the order and the ladder trying to do all this manually. It's going to do it much better and much faster than a human could. But anyone who has any questions can always email me. The algos are on the City Store, and my email address is in there. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'll turn it back over to James.
Feel free to reach out to myself or anyone else at Option City, and that'll be it for today.